Hey guys, kinggath here with another patch for Sim Settlements 2. This is patch 2.1.0, which I'm calling Better City Planning. And yeah, I probably did reuse that patch name because I think we had a similar patch back in the Rise of the Commonwealth days for Sim Settlements 1 that did a similar thing, which is overhaul city plans. So this is a pretty big patch, hence the switch to 2.1.0 instead of the 2.04 you may have expected. Usually if I increment that second number, it means some major system or some system got a major overhaul, and this is no exception. So this is a big patch, lots to talk about. I'm going to go into some of the major changes to the city plan system, and then we'll talk about some of the other stuff. But first, we got to thank patrons because they keep the lights on. They have ensured that our dev team is never going to have to dig into their pockets to pay for stuff regarding SS2, whether it be the development or maintaining websites and services and whatnot. So huge shout out and thanks to you guys. I'm going to call out a few names right now, and if you don't hear your name but you signed up recently, don't worry, I will get to you in a future video. So shout out and thanks to Matt Roberts, Desire X Leary, I don't know if that's how that's supposed to be pronounced, Galinda Bruton, and that's definitely my butcher of the week. That's someone's name I'm mispronouncing, I'm sure. Sorry about that. Donout, man, I've got I'm 1 for 4 here so far. Donout or Don Out, Desert Ranger 111, that one I'm confident in, and Brandon Kolk. So thank you all, and thank you everybody else who's been contributing in other ways. You guys are amazing and make it real easy to commit to this project for the long term. So let's get into some of the changes. So the first thing you'll notice is that there's some new HUD elements on the left there. Now that little HUD piece, those of you who used SS1 are probably familiar with. It is in very similar form to what it was in SS1 with a few big differences, obviously color being one of the first ones that you might notice. We do have a little bit of red when there's something to pay attention to. So I'm going to break down how that HUD piece works. So first off, it will always start on the left-hand side of your screen, but you can move it independently of the other SS2 HUD modules, so it doesn't have to stay attached to the HUD meters over there. You can move that around. It's the thing is called settlement info, so you can find that in the HUD settings, whether it be in the holotape or in the MCM menu. You can move it around with that. So the settlement info section starts out with a little picture of a Vault Boy representing population. It shows you the current population and the max population that the settlement supports right now. Generally that's based on the max that the city plan's current level supports. Next you'll see the little city icon that tells you that there is a city plan there, and then an L and a number, so it'll be L0, 1, 2, or 3. So that is the current level of the city plan. And then next you get the status information. So the status information will generally, for most of you, show a little timer icon with a percentage, and that's basically telling you how close it is time-wise before it could first be eligible to upgrade. And then after that, it'll start showing you these red status icons showing you what you need to fix in order to allow the city plan to upgrade. Now, you don't have to fix it. You can let the city do it itself eventually, but as many of you know and who've been playing SS2 for a while, that doesn't always happen, and that's going to lead into one of our first big changes, but I'll talk about that in just a second. Let's go over the different status symbols you can expect. So in addition to showing the time percentage, the next thing it will show is whether or not you have enough happiness. The happiness requirements are 70, 80, 90 for level 1, 2, and 3 respectively. So right now I am far below the 70 happiness required, so I can't upgrade to level 1. And then after that it will show if you're close on population. So the max population for a settlement is shown there. I'm sorry, for a city plan is shown there, and you need to be within 80% of the full amount before an upgrade can complete. So we are definitely there. 6 out of 7 would definitely qualify as 80%, so we won't ever get that in this particular setup on my save here. And then the other thing that might show is a red scrap icon, and that means you are short on scrap. Now with scrap, you can actually pre-find out how much you need for the next level as soon as the time requirement is passed. So with level 0, after 10 days, you can come to Manage City here, and you should see upgrade available. And if you click on that, in a few seconds, you'll see a message showing you how many resources they are going to need to go up to level 1. Now it might be that if some of the other requirements aren't met, such as happiness or the population requirement are there, you might get this option here showing you with an option to upgrade now or whatever the verbiage is for that. You might be able to click that and it might not go through, and you'll know now from your HUD why that is. So the upgrade available, I wanted to make sure that came up early, even before you're actually available, as soon as the timer's up, so that you could start planning on the scrap right away. So you should look to your HUD there to see if there's a problem, and don't mind the red and black switching between the little smiley face there. Any of you guys who played a lot of HQ have seen that a lot, I'm sure, where some of the stuff flickers between red, green, and black. The going to black is actually just a weird quirk with the way HUD framework can interact with the HUD. Like, this was a very low level hack to be able to get color in. The base game does not want color. There's they have like apparently engine exceptions for things like the food you see up there and for the little down arrow on the happiness, but all the stuff we inject with workshop framework, very difficult to get color into it. So that is why it occasionally flickers to black. All right, so let's talk about the changes that I made in the way city plans work that I think will help you guys out. So the first thing is that by default now, city plans have a involvement setting of none. If you're not familiar with the involvement setting, that is something you can access via MCM or the holotape, and basically it determines how many of the Sim Settlements 2 rules apply to city plan run settlements. So originally we had it set to low, which meant that most of the complicated rules were turned off, so things like maintenance costs and operating costs weren't having to deal with, but the settlers did at least have to have enough building materials to build up the settlement. And what I found in watching lots of people play this mod and reading discussions on the forums is that a lot of people found that very unintuitive, and they felt like they gave control of the settlement expecting the settlers to figure stuff out, and it feels like they're not actually doing so. So by setting the involvement to none, effectively the plots and the city plan itself can upgrade now regardless of what the state is of the settlement, so it will feel like over time the settlers are doing what they're supposed to. Now, the one thing where you can still run into a hiccup with is if the settlers fail to get their happiness high enough due to the things they choose to build and whatnot, that it might be that the settlement struggles to get enough people. So you might need to send them some more people from a settlement with higher happiness. If you're not familiar with the way recruitment works in the base game and with SS2, is there's a chance to get a settler every day, and the higher the happiness, the higher that chance. So as the settlement starts to fill up, it can be harder to get settlers over time if the happiness is very low. So it almost is a percent chance. So a 38 happiness, you almost have a 38% chance. I don't remember the exact math behind it. It's been many months, if not years, since I looked into the math behind what Bethesda has. But the best way to handle this problem if you see a city plan getting stuck is just send it more people, especially with this new system. Now this patch, and again, reason I incremented the second number there is to make sure people know that this is going to have a major impact on your save. So this is actually going to, after the patch comes out, it's going to go through all of your settlements and switch their involvement to none. So if you don't like that, if you like the more complicated options, you want to have to deal with everything, maybe you like having city plans with operating costs enabled and city plans with diseases and all that stuff, you're going to want to go back and flip that involvement setting back. Now, the other thing I'll show you is that we've added another thing from SS1 that has been a long requested feature, and the reason I hadn't added it prior is because it took something like 20 hours for me to get this in, and as far as I know from the bug testers, some of it's still not working in the current build when I'm recording this video. Will be fixed for release. But in the City Manager software terminal on the City Planner's desk, if you access that and you go down to the options and then gameplay, you'll see that there's a new local settings. And like I said, for SS1 vets, this had been there and they're used to it. But basically what this will do is it'll allow you to tinker with those settings that get set by involvement and some others. And basically you can control all of these different options at the current settlement you're standing in. So if you want to have a certain settlement act differently with the rules than your global setting, than all your other settlements that are on by default. So perhaps maybe you want to pick one that you really want all the rules on, or maybe you're having one that's giving you a lot of trouble and you want to turn some rules off, you can do that. All these different things can be controlled. If we get enough requests for other things to be added to here, I'm happy to add this. It's not a big deal to add more to this list. These were just the ones that when I went over all the different options felt like they made the most sense that people might want to do individually on a per settlement basis based on different things going on in their game. So you can kind of now control on a local level which rules from SS2 apply to your settlements. So beyond that, the big thing I would mention is I did fix a wiring bug. So many of you have talked about how some of your city plans don't wire themselves up correctly. I did fix a bug with that. Now, if you're on Xbox, it's impossible to do that. It is an F4SE only feature to run wires. Unfortunately, Bethesda did not give us a Papyrus, which is their scripting language, method to do wires, so we have to use F4SE for it. And I found that there was a bug that was preventing that. Now, ROTC users, the Rise of the Commonwealth city plans, it's a known issue that the wiring does not work except for level 3 of them, and that was just due to some bugs in our city plan creation software. So we have software that takes the designs from the game and converts them into the city plan format. There were some bugs in the early drafts of it. They have long since been fixed, but we have not been able to run the ROTC city plans through the fix just due to the way the way add-on packs work and the way plugins work in the Bethesda game engine or in the creation engine, where if we did it, it might cause a lot of problems for you guys who have existing saves. So we have not updated it. We will find a way to do it one day, but it's been low priority because there's so many other things I'm sure you guys would love us to fix. If you want, you can turn off the requirement for power altogether. So if you're using those ROTC city plans and you want the things to be powered without you having to manually wire it, you can do what Xbox players have enabled by default. If you go under SS2 and go to gameplay under city building, you'll find that there's a self-powered objects option. If you turn that on before you build a city plan, the objects that get placed by the city plan that require power will all just magically no longer require power, and they'll just act as if you always had enough. And that's a nice solution for that if you're finding that the wiring isn't working correctly. All right, let's talk about some of the other stuff in this patch. So obviously, I'm not going to talk about everything. There's a lot of stuff you'll want to go read the full patch notes for, which I should have linked below. But there's a couple of big things. One, make sure you grab the workshop framework update. There's a small little update to that we needed a few code changes to pull off some of what we did. And I believe I fixed a vanilla bug today, or maybe that was last patch. But anyway, there is a workshop framework patch. Go grab that. And we have some stuff for extended players. So those of you who have played through the CPD quest line, every time I watch somebody do it, on a live stream or a Let's Play, I notice them hoping that they'll be able to get the CPD to their settlements, and now you can, but only for extended users. I know Xbox players are so tight on space, we're effectively giving them no more content that requires multi-meg files, but for PC players, you guys get all the good stuff, and so now there are 2 new CPD building plans that will unlock at the end of the CPD questline, and if you already did it prior to this patch, shortly after loading up this patch, you should find that you get a bunch of unlocks. And these 2 new building plans were designed by Captain Laserbeam, who we finally get his name into the core mod. I've been trying to get some content from every big popular add-on pack author into the mod, and Captain Laserbeam has been working on these behind the scenes for quite a while now, and is even working on some more stuff for Chapter 3. I'm really excited to get some more of his artwork into the game. And so now there are 2 by Captain Laserbeam, and each of them is an advanced martial plot, so they will require settlers with a little more oomph, but they will cause CPD presence in your settlement. So you'll see officers, some of the police protectrons, etc. So if you really love the CPD, now you have a chance to kind of turn all of your settlements into CPD headquarters effectively. So those are available. And then for those of you guys who love the outfit collection system with the camera, there are now about a dozen new outfits, and the way you'll find those is through the Wasteland Theater. So if you haven't seen the Wasteland Theater yet, it unlocks after, I actually don't know when it unlocks. You might have to go check the wiki for that, but after you unlock the Wasteland Theater, it is a 3x3 recreational plot that will put on stage shows, and now most of the characters in those stage shows have custom outfits that you can collect. So that is some great work by Fess and Beebs Calicor on our team, who are working hard at filling this mod with outfit mashups. I think we're probably rivaling Eleonora at this point for how many mashup outfits we have available in SS2. So go check that out. Grab the extended patch. It's actually included by now, as of last patch, or as of 2.03. I think SS2 extended should automatically get installed for you. But if you're on PC not using Nexus, if you're downloading through Bethesda, go grab the extended. It is available on Bethesda as well now. Search for SS2 extended, and you will find there's a lot more content. All right, and then the last little bit that I love to do every patch day is give out some merch. So last week we switched it, and I'm glad we did it because this is the first time in a while we've had people actually redeem the merch. Because now I have you guys include contact information with your hashtag so that I can actually get in touch with you directly instead of hoping that you happen to see my reply to your comment. So if you'd like a chance at some Sim Settlements 2 free merch, all you got to do is leave a comment below. You're going to have to include a hashtag and some contact information. So I wouldn't recommend putting an email address out there. Maybe put like Sim Settlements forums and then your forum username, or nexusmods.com and then your Nexus username, something like that, something where you're not going to have spam bots attacking you. So leave that as well as your hashtag. And of course, as always, don't just spam me with hashtags. Please put something else with the comments so I have something fun to read. Tell me a story about you playing some settlements, or tell me a bug, tell me something that happened to you, something you love about it, anything like that. Just include a little more than just the hashtag so I have something fun to read while I'm collating all these entries. All right, so the hashtag for this week is Do It Yourself, Settlers. So a big long do-it-yourself settlers, because I want to encourage you guys to embrace the city plans. I think prior to this patch they could be a little clunky to use, and I'm hoping after this patch that they become very easy to use and more what you'd expect out of city plans, which is you give control of the settlement to a settler and they just run with it. And that's hopefully what this patch is going to pull off. All right, guys, take care and enjoy the mods.